recording. Buddy, this is Paula Harris, and we have a treat for you today. I was actually able to convince Jeff Mahala, who is my Crestone superstar, to do a short program with me here on my channel. And Jeff, say hi to everybody because they know who you
Hello,
are.
everyone.
And
Hi, everyone.
and we're both in Colorado. So he's about 80 miles away from me in Wellington, and I am I'm near Boulder. But the thing is this, that he's so great and so cool and so charismatic with the people that come to actually hear him speak in Crestone, that I say, look, can we just have a conversation that's uplifting in these, seemingly negative, depressing times, because there's so much great stuff going on. And one of the things, Jeff, that I want you to comment on is the fact that change is the only constant. We can't remain the same. So can you comment on the fact, even a couple of things that have made you change your mind about this?
Yeah, for sure. What comes to mind right away is just everything you see in nature. I mean, if you just look at nature, it's always changing. It's always in a state of flux and birth and decay and rebirth. And we're all we're all going through those changes ourselves. I mean, we are constantly evolving. And, the things that we thought maybe yesterday, we don't think anymore, just based on our experiences that we have and our interactions we have with one another. And especially if you have kids like I do, I've got 5. Every day is a new day. And I realize something about myself, or I realize something about them. And, and they change right before your eyes. So I think that that's just where we're at, is in the evolution of humanity in general. And it's a cool ride. It's a fun process if you can stay out of the negative and try to make everything as positive as you can, even in the struggles. That's kind of where I kind of try to stay in that lane of optimism and trying to stay positive and look at what's the lesson here. And I think that that's kind of what we're all on a journey doing here, is evolving.
Well, Brent said it really well. He said, we're in a test. Everybody's taking the test, and the teacher doesn't give you the answers, before the test. So you're not the answers maybe in your lifetime. But you and I have done a lot of research together. We've gone to Mexico City together. We've been in Jaime Maussan's operation, which is absolutely amazing. And we have been to Shasta with Ricardo Gonzalez, and really experienced the enthusiasm of the Latin American contactees, who don't even question this. They know it's real because their culture says it. Their culture talks about the Space Brothers. And you also were very, very curious about Trinity. So you got to go down there several times with me and Jacques and other people, and got to meet Jose Padilla. And for you, and I watch your reaction. For you, it wasn't even shocking when Jose walks over to the site and says, yes, I saw the craft and 3 little beings. For you, it's like, wow. So the ability to say wow to these things still shows there's a lot of things to be enthusiastic about.
Yeah. Well, I think too is, before I had my own experiences in Hawaii, and I came to even think that any of this was even real, like I've shared with you in the past, when my wife, when we were first dating, mentioned to me she believed in this type of phenomenon, and I told her that she was crazy and that I didn't believe in it at all. To be at a point where I had my own experiences, and then all of a sudden, all those constructs and the wheels are off the bus, and I'm, the concept I had was just like going down a long hallway and not having anything to grab onto, and you were just in the throes of learning, and all the things that you could hold on to that you could think were solid, or that you had, you know, a belief system in place that would bring you back to center, were just ripped away. And you're seeing phenomenon that defies anything that you've ever been taught, learned in school, even seen in movies that, you know, you thought was so fictional. All those things really kind of just fall away. And then now you're kind of immersed in this, where we've been talking about this, going into the consciousness part of it, and about the very personal experience that you're experiencing as the phenomenon's unfolding in front of your own eyes. And I think that that is the biggest takeaway that I got from it was, okay, now this stuff is real. And how weird does it get? As weird as you can imagine. And then now take that to the point where you're now in the field, standing somewhere where an event happened, where maybe a person would be scrutinized about and not believed. And because you've had those kind of constructs fall away, you get to feel the heart-centered part of it. And that's what really determines, for me, speaking to somebody who's had some phenomenon happen like that, you can tell by the emotion and the impact it's had on their life, and their ability to articulate the events that unfolded in such a way that you can tell the difference between what's honest and what would be fabricated. And that's probably the most amazing thing, is that when then you encounter these people that have had these experiences, then all of a sudden you're at a point where you're like, okay, that eases my kind of anxiety, because there's other people that have been dealing with some sort of phenomenon, and they've had a level of anxiety about it, and they're able to articulate it and live with it, which means I can live with it, which means I can go on and I can take the message from that. And it's a very personal message for each person. And it's usually spiritual in nature, I have found.
Well, you said it so well. And if people have read my book, All of the Above and Beyond, that has the Latin American context in there, they'll know that a lot of the contacts that I personally have, that I don't always talk about, have come from Ricardo Gonzalez, have come from being in the Atacama Desert, from having been in Argentina, from having been in Colombia, from having been places where, the message goes to the heart. It doesn't go, I don't know what you could use in your brain to explain this anyway. There's a science. And I would love to do more of this. And the reason why I asked Jeff to do this with me today is because Jeff and Jenny will be announcing a YouTube channel shortly, where they will be interviewing people, and with more time and more availability, get into what really matters, not just the data around UFOs, but the consciousness aspect, the fact that we're here to make a difference. And with their YouTube channel, are you excited about the YouTube channel that you guys are starting?
No, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about it. And thank you for bringing that up. That is something I'm very excited to do, because I really, something as you were talking that I was even thinking about right now was, and I'm gonna swap this on you for 1 second and turn it, is that, you dealt with Colonel Corso, and you said there was something that happened when he encountered something on the base, and they said some words to him that were very poignant. And to go along with what you were just talking about, could you explain what they had said to him when he encountered a being that had landed on the base? Could you share that?
Sure. It was 1957. He was arguing that Roswell incident was two craft that had crashed into each other, and there was a time warp, and the second one ended up at White Sands Missile Base where he was working. And he told me, and it was a place called Red Canyon, which I've tried to go down there to see where it is. And he said a being had come out of the cave because he had seen this UFO sitting there, and he had gone over with his Jeep. but a being came out of the cave, and he said, of course, he said he pointed his gun, being Sicilian, Colonel Corso had a gun and a Beretta, and he also had a knife in his boot. So he pointed the gun and he said to me, Paulo, I said to him, friend or foe, what do you think he said? And I was with him at this famous interview in Roswell on the 50th anniversary. And I said, he said neither. And that's what the being said. I'm not your friend and I'm not your enemy. Please shut down the radar and let me go. And Colonel Corso said, if I do it, what do you have? What can you give me? And of course, you're looking for the famous words that all my colleagues have taken from Colonel Corso, a new world if you can take it. But no, Jeff, in my data collecting, I never printed the story because I thought people would think he was crazy. So I wanted just the data of him working at the Pentagon in the 1960s on back engineering the Roswell artifacts. I don't want a contact story. I was looking for that. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'd like to close out this section with you. Thank you for coming on, saying that both and I and Jenny are working towards a new world if we can take it. Is that right?
That's it. That's where I was going with it.